Let's talk about Mexico. When you saw the conversation play out between Kwame and Micah, that very long conversation where you were waiting for your chips and guac and you never got it.
God bless. It's okay.
Oh man. How did you respond to that? Because you finally got to see how it played out, because you didn't really know how that conversation was.
I will say, I as much as I saw how it played out, I didn't, right? Like, I'm not in the lens of the camera. I'm in the lens of me. Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing it, but I'm not seeing the touching. I'm not seeing the look in their eyes. Like, I wasn't seeing that, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was difficult. It was difficult. You know, you have Jackie being like, I would behead him. I love my powerful Jackie B. I really do. And in that moment, I had to have like a Chelsea moment. Like, what are you gonna do, babe? This is the biggest moment ever. And it's okay because I'm in an experiment where this is a part of the process.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happened. It was wrong. It was. But in the journey of trying to get married at the end, right? When you start dating 15 people, it's a human experience. You're gonna have connections with other people, right? There's tequila in Mexico. There's all the factors. And it was a big moment for me to be like, Chelsea, no, take a step back. I don't think if I had inserted myself, I don't think it would have gone well. I think that they really needed to have that moment. I don't know if Kwame would have, responded in a way that was like, oh yeah. Like, we're heightened, we're at this level, this conversation needs to happen. He was really angry. I mean, we can't think about what she was gonna say. We can't think about all these things that were gonna happen. I had no idea she was gonna say something like that would trigger him like that, right? I really don't think there was a whole lot that Kwame and I could have done beforehand to really have like avoided getting upset at a comment like that. That was an in the moment comment and it angered him.
Yeah.
Right? And then with everything else going on, it led to, them talking for longer and having that close conversation. That was the first time they've seen each other. Like, people just don't understand this experiment.
Now, I mean, you're giving a lot of grace and you are such an evolved human to like have this understanding and to be really calm about it right now. But how do you view your relationship and connection with Kwame now that you've seen how his conversations were going with Micah?
I don't think I had realized like how deeply they had connected. I never once talked about another woman in the pods, ever. I was actually pretty appalled at how much that was happening with other women. So what does she have that I don't? So what does she have? No, I was never like that. Also because you don't know what's going on in that pod. I could only know what's going on in my relationship, right? That was their relationship. I'm self-confident, self-aware. I needed to be sure in what we had going. I needed to focus on that. So I never, ever talked about her with him, ever. And I think he respected that. I wasn't gonna come in there and, bash her. They had a connection and that was theirs.
Now, when you watched all of those interactions, now that the show is out, when you're sitting at home watching, like, do you get any type of tinge of uncomfortableness?
Of course I do.
Okay, all right.
It's very uncomfortable.
All right, thank you. Not that I wanted to get a rise out of you, but it makes me uncomfortable as a married woman. It makes even friends of mine who are single when we're watching and we're texting and we're like,
think about my family, for example. The way I describe it is like you're just standing in life, you're standing in your power and you're doing great and someone comes in your back and stabs you. Like, that's what it feels like watching that. It was pretty jerking and difficult.
Yeah.
And I, experienced it in myself. I was, very upset. I had to walk away a couple times. Like, I'm a real person and I have feelings, but it was also a year ago.
Yeah.
It's relevant, but irrelevant. Yeah. And so that's what I've been playing with in my mind. But I think I immediately was like, my family, my brother, my parents. Like, nobody was really prepared to see what they saw, especially people that didn't know, like all of them, like the world.
It almost felt like he had this Peter Pan syndrome where he didn't know how good it was in front of him. And he was kind of just reliving and revisiting these moments from the pods.
Yeah, I don't know. There is something for some people where it's like you're loyal to that first person. Mm-hmm. You're loyal to that first person that you connected with. And Netflix Daddy, I don't know if you've heard of us refer to him, he said it's pretty unlikely that you're going to marry your number one person after days 1 and 2, you know, in your mind.
Who is this Netflix Daddy?
He is the creator of Love is Blind. He is the mastermind behind the experiment.
Okay.
And, you know, you're dating all these people, and in your mind, you're thinking about, where do they fall on my continuum? In the first couple days, you might be totally for Jason. And you're like, I think Jason's the one. And then things start to change. But on that second day, he will say, sorry, you know, to break it to you guys, but it's pretty unlikely that you marry or will walk out of here engaged to your number one by day 2. It was shocking for all of us.
Yeah.
Right? But it changes. The conversations as you start to date longer, as you start to surpass difficult topics, your connections with people evolve. And my connections evolved, and so did Kwame's. But I think that for some people, there is like that loyalty to that first person, right? And let's just talk about the male psyche for a moment, shall we?
Let's.
Do men like rejection?
Never.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't like rejection, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
And there is like that, I'm rejecting you, but like, oh, but pull me back, right? Like that push-pull. And it is I feel like it is kind of a juvenile male behavior. You have to be able to stop it in its tracks because it's lying to you.
Yeah.
It's not real.
Right.
And I think he had to realize that. That I think in some ways, Micah and their situation and the relationship they had was kind of what he wanted to hear, but I was really what he needed to hear.